right. Finally. We got Gabriel Iglesias himself.
In the home studio.
This is very cool.
Thank you for
guys have
coming.
an incredible. You need a map for your home. It is impressive.
Well, thank you.
It is impressive. You need one of those little things that says "You are here" right by the door. So you're like, hey,
hold on. Coming from the man that bought a neighborhood.
It's a straight line. It's a straight line, though, bro.
I bought one house. Gabe has a neighbor. And we probably should preface what's going on. Gabe is now our neighbor.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, he's in our town, and Gabe, this is the perfect town for you. You know, a lot of people are leaving California to come to Texas, but they're going to Austin, right?
Austin is like baby California, though. It's like it's the same ideas, and it's very much a lot of the same things, like the traffic and homelessness. So it's like we gotta. I'm around Austin the other day, and I'm like, this feels like home.
It's LA. Yeah, I mean it's the rat race, right? It's the here just tranquilo.
Very much so.
It's just chill.
Well, yeah, the restaurants and bars close at midnight during the week and 1 on the weekends.
But you were literally like, hey, leaving the house. And I'm like, 10 minutes. You know what I mean? For you to cover the distance between your house and my house in LA.
Oh, God. That would have taken at least an hour.
At least an hour.
The only obstacle I had was a train. I sent you a picture. I got stuck at the train tracks, and I'm like, that might take a minute.
Yeah, we have lots of trains.
So,
you get stuck by 2 trains sometimes.
To catch you guys up, not only did Gabriel move to Texas, but he bought several homes in the neighborhood. And, you know, at first I thought to myself, like, Gabe can live anywhere and Gabe can do whatever he wants. Why did he do this? And I went over there the other day and I'm like, oh, it's the dream. It's a dream come true. To be able to move your friends and your crew together, but they still get to fucking leave. Right? Like, when I don't want to see you,
it's the whole.
I'm going to my house.
Look at the time.
Why didn't we do that?
We should have done that together.
Or like last night, we just went inside and closed the door. You guys know how to get home.
Yeah.
Go ahead, crawl through the hole in the fence.
That's what I love about my property is I have the barn back there, and I don't have to shut them off. I don't have to go, okay, time to go, right? Like, I feel rude if I leave, then everybody leaves. My neighbors are like, hey, Steve, we good? I'm like, you know what to do. Close the garage doors and get out of here.
Close up. You got it. Just close up.
Yeah.
Yep. Just close up and get the. Are you loving it, Texas?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm having a really, really good time.
Yeah.
Really good time. I've been so much at ease, and I felt like I was gonna be very anxious when I first got here, and I'm like, no, this is incredibly comfortable. And everybody back home is messaging me, and they're like, how you doing out there? You ready to come home?
Now they're worried about you.
Yeah.
Right? He's coming back.
And
No,
I'm
bitch,
like,
I ain't coming back.
I have a lot of the same things, and of course, there's certain things that are like you miss things. Because I was asking Martin, like, what do you miss? And he's like, I miss the beach. You know, and I'm like, okay, well, they got beaches here. They're not the same.
Well, it's better in some ways because these beaches you can drive on. So you can literally drive so there's a really great place that I would recommend to you guys called Cinnamon Shores. And it's wonderful because it's these beautiful homes, but everything is right there. They have pizza shops there. They have whatever. Then you take a golf cart over the sand dune and you can ride your golf cart up and down now. And I'm not speaking for Gabe, but for a fat guy, I hate walking in the sand.
Steve doesn't like the beach. He's not
Sand
a beach person.
is gordo kryptonite.
Yeah.
It is, man.
But if I can be in a golf cart and just cruise around and check people out, it's the best.
I want to be at the beach, but not in the beach. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want no.
But we know, Latham's here, by the way, Sean Latham, Martin Moreno hanging out with us, TK. You could set up a whole camp on the beach so easily, and people are out there barbecuing and playing cornhole, and, there's canopies, and it's just a different vibe. California was like, Renae would go, you want to go to the beach? I'm like,
Park on the other side of the street.
It's a thing.
Carry your fucking chairs, go down it. And I'm like, I ain't going. No way. Here, golf cart, you're cruising. Different thing.
Right up to the water,
Yep, different thing.
The hardest part for me is the idea of, like, memories. I'm so tied to where I'm at in California, in Long Beach.
Well,
I grew
it
up
takes time to make memories.
It does. It really does. But like for me, I associate every street corner has some connection to my childhood, which is like a, it's like, oh, so
part of your human life. Right?
Yeah. And so the idea of leaving that is like, oh.
It's the thing I miss the most is food. I will tell people right now, best barbecue in the world is right here. Best Tex-Mex in the world is right here. But that's it.
Yeah, you're not
I
going to
miss
find
the
great pad thai.
I miss Thai food, the Chinese, the good sushi place. I mean,
You're gonna have to
Eitan's
get that
good.
on
Have you
the
gone
road.
to Eitan?
No.
Eitan's the best sushi place around, but that's your only option. I miss the different varieties of food that you could get in. And we bring some of that with us here. I got to be honest with you. You guys do hot dogs better than us.
Oh, yes, the bacon-wrapped hot dogs with
Nice.
the pico de gallo and the guac.
And those are the guys
yes.
hanging outside the arenas. and
Yes,
shows.
the
They're
California
just out there.
street dogs.
Yeah.
Yes.
They owe you commission, all the damn money you made there. Oh, Fluffy's here. Get the cart out there. They're all coming out.
Parked by the artist entrance.
But, definitely, and what I definitely miss in California that was different is no barbacoa over there. That
I
was
didn't
weird to
realize
me.
that until you pointed it out. I just assumed it was there, too.
We'll settle the debate right now. Texas Mexican or California Mexican?
It depends on what the food is,
I'm gonna probably
I
have
will
to
say
agree.
that some of the best fajita quesadillas I've ever had here.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's just because it's a combination of the tortilla that's a lot thicker than a California tortilla, and the seasoning behind.
And it's usually homemade here, the flour tortillas.
Mm-hmm. I've seen some that look like freaking Mexican flatbread. They're so thick, and it looks like
Hey, you want a breakfast taco? And you're like, I'll take two. Fuck.
it's a plate. It's not.
it's
It's not a
huge.
taco. It's a
It's huge.
plato, man. You're trying to fold it, and you're like,
It's
it won't.
insane.
Okay, but enchiladas, you do them in California or you do them in Texas?
California.
Enchiladas?
Really?
Enchiladas,
I
yes.
would never order them in California. And when we come back to Texas to visit, I'd be like,
So,
okay, now
Don't
I
get me
can
wrong,
have
they're
enchiladas.
good here. I noticed they put nacho cheese in the enchiladas.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of the ones that I had. Yeah.
No, it's you got to get the brown gravy sauce.
Well, so what a lot of people don't understand is that Texas invented the flour tortilla. And what happened was when Texas was Mexico and Spain introduced flour to the Mexicans here in Texas, they're the ones that started using it in Mexican food, which is why we have carne guisada, which is with flour, and then it's why we have the thick flour tortillas. Because I'm with you, and maybe my fellow Texans are going to hate me for saying this, street tacos, California, 100%. But
also too, the tortillas are corn,
Yeah.
the little,
the little small ones. That's why they put two.
yep, you got to put the little bastards in there.
Still thinner than a Texas tortilla.
But I did when I moved to California. It was for me. It was a big culture shock because, for me, a taco was in flour tortillas, and then when I went to California, I'm like, oh, let me have a carne asada taco, and they give me this little corn tortilla, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then they don't have breakfast tacos in LA. Breakfast tacos are big.
Breakfast tacos are huge, and you can get them at gas stations.
Yes.
Gas station breakfast tacos.
Buc-ee's sells breakfast tacos.
They do.
I
They
just
do.
want I'm laughing because I'm thinking of some random dude at a Circle K
Yeah.
ordering a taco and turning around and fucking Fluffy is at the gas station. Hey man, what's up?
I've been saying we're gonna go get some breakfast tacos. They got the 7-Eleven with the Laredo Taco Company.
That's
inside.
Circle K.
And
Circle K.
Is it Circle K?
Yeah.
No, I think 7-Eleven has them too. Don't
The
they?
7, no, really?
Oh.
No, the
Anyway.
Laredo Taco Company is.
Yeah.
We argue on the podcast too.
Like, wow.
This is a friendly argument.
On-
Hey, let me get a pen. Take notes. Yeah, okay. All right, look, Steve, we're gonna work on
How many fights are the
projection thing
Trevinos
here.
gonna get into?
But yeah, the breakfast tacos are legit. And you would think that going to a gas station, really, you're gonna go to a gas station to get like
But
breakfast.
they're legit.
And it's not like some little Jimmy Dean thing
No,
you throw in
no.
the microwave. No, they got the whole setup.
They're in
right there.
Barranca.
It's like the omelet station at the hotel buffet. They're making it for you right there.
And it's not questionable gas station food. It is delicious.
It's very good.
And I was totally blown away the first time I experienced that because that does not happen in California. If you're in California at a gas station eating breakfast, you've made some bad
I was
decisions
going
in
to
your
say,
life.
it smells like urine.
Yeah,
And not only that, you need a quarter to go to the restroom. They're all locked in California, which freaked me out because I'm like, where do y'all pee? Because in California, I remember I was at trying to fix my truck when I first got there. I'm at an AutoZone. I'm like, hey man, I gotta pee, and they're like, yeah, we don't have a restroom. I'm like, Where do you pee? Yeah, not for the general public. I'm like, but I'm buying shit.
You
like,
know, that's not a thing.
Here, you walk into somebody's house. I mean, hey man, you mind if I use your restroom? Shit, you'll leave fatter and drunker, and you know. But it's been exciting for you to.
I've been impressed with the generosity and the kindness of people here. It's very different.
I don't want to get off food, and I know Gabe's probably gonna piss somebody off right here. In-N-Out or Whataburger?
You don't even why? This is I might as well argue with both of you. You know, I feel like that conversation is probably more dangerous than a question of politics.
Yeah.
It's one of those. I think I'd rather be asked who did you vote for than what do you think about In-N-Out versus Whataburger. And I think it's cool that I have both right down the street.
Yeah, that
and
worked
it's almost
out for you.
They're within. You can see them.
Yeah, they're literally staring at each other, judging, just judging. What I will say about the debate, the In-N-Out burger is very specific taste. And sometimes I get the feeling of I want an In-N-Out. That's what I want. Because it tastes like In-N-Out. But Whataburger, 24 hours a day, menu options. I like having
chicken biscuit.
The pros that of Whataburger, being open 24 hours. I'm a late bird. I've been averaging going to bed 5 o'clock in the morning every day since I got here. And I can't turn it off because I'm still stuck on LA time.
Yeah, sure.
I knock out around 2, 3 back home. And so I'm watching the sun come up and I'm like, oh God, it's late. So everything closes early. Whataburger's 24 hours. So I appreciate that.
He's so humble. He also tends to not tell everybody that his house is like fucking Fort Knox. And these metal shades come down. Dude, I came. It's like
I've
the
seen
Purge.
too many movies, bro. I ain't taking no chances.
And I'm like, Gabe, you don't need those. We have guns here. Yeah. No, but it helps with blacking out the
It makes the room nice and dark.
Yeah, when you're a comic, man, and you're up those late nights and you just need to be nice and dark.
And
so anyway,
no matter what you try to do with the curtain, there's always that sliver of light that just finds you. It's just like right there. You're like, damn it.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anyways,
Go ahead.
spicy ketchup at Whataburger. Spicy ketchup. I love ketchup.
They sell it at HEB.
I love spicy. So
You know they sell it at HEB?
the Whataburger
The spicy ketchup. You can buy it on the shelf at HEB.
Buy the bottle. Stop fucking around with the...
And by the way, if this was a conversation about supermarkets, hands down, Texas kills it. Okay. HEB all day. I haven't been in one in a minute, but I'm looking forward to having.
You know how mad I'm gonna be that
having a beer and barbecue in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know how mad I'm gonna be that I grew up here, live here, and then tomorrow he's getting an offer from HEB. They're like, Gabe, I heard on Steve's podcast that you love HEB. Bien sabroso. And I'm like, that motherfucker, man. He just moved here. I did there was a Fluffy sighting. I don't know if I told you guys at Wings and More or somewhere. And a friend of mine, Wings and Rings. A friend of mine sent me a picture and he goes, just so you know, you're now the least famous comedian in your brothels.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
But
next morning, Steve slashing my tires. And
well, that's what Renae and I were wondering. Like, when I moved to LA, I had a dream, right? And I felt like I had to be there. And I was younger. I had this idea of what LA was, right? And I realized very quickly that it wasn't for me. But I was kind of stuck there because that was the only place at that time to start a career. All I kept thinking about is how do I get home? How do I get back to Texas? For you, it's kind of opposite because you're like, I've lived here. I love it here because you've never said you didn't love Long Beach.
No, not at all.
But
that's never.
How did where you go? I need to change.
In the beginning, when I first started doing this in 1997, I said I have to live here in order to be in this business. My mom wanted me to go to San Diego with her because she had a house there, and I'm like, no, I gotta live here. Something told me that I have to live here. And it was one of those things where comedy, I can live anywhere realistically, but in show business, if you're on a TV show or something, it's either LA or New York and now Georgia. But you don't have to be tied into one place in order to be in this business anymore. You can do it from almost anywhere.
But back then there
But
was
not
no
in
social.
'97.
No,
Yeah, there was no social
there was
media.
none of that.
You needed an, and by the way,
I had a Yahoo Messenger account. That was the extent of my social media back in the day. Yeah, right. Prodigy or AOL.
The
I still have my
dial-up?
AOL account.
But for me watching you, I've always admired you and looked up to you, and and I'll tell you a story here in a minute. But you were on Que Locos, and I just remember going, "Oh my God, this guy, so fucking funny," and you were a big inspiration for me to go, "Man, there's something out there for me," And then I ended up doing Diamonds in the Rough in San Antonio, and I walk in there, and there's Gabriel Iglesias. And I just remember like, oh my God, I got to go say it.
What was Diamonds in the Rough?
It was
River Center Comedy Club.
They had like a Latino Laugh Festival thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And I got invited to do it. And I'm like, oh my God, there's Gabriel Iglesias. You were so nice to me and so kind. And I thought to myself, like, how is this dude so... Because you were on, I think, Brothers Garcia at that time.
Oh, I remember that show. Yeah, Nickelodeon.
But I would watch that too, So when you got on Que Locos, I mean, you came out of the womb a headliner.
Nice.
Did you, did you?
Nice.
I mean, I don't remember. I just remember like Fluffy was already a star. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember thinking, oh, this Gabriel Iglesias guy, he's an open micer. Or
Do you feel like there was a rise, like there was a struggle, or did it happen pretty quickly?
There was, I mean, the struggle was me letting go of my regular day 9 to 5 in order to pursue, being a comic. That was the hardest thing for me to do, which is something I'm being faced with right now with this whole, when you're tied to something, it's really hard to let go of being comfortable. When you're comfortable, you don't want to mess that up. You don't want change.
Change is hard. Change is uncomfortable.
Hard for people.
And as you get older too, you get more stuck in your ways, and it's just hard to make that change. I guess that's the big question is like, where were you like, okay, fuck it?
The biggest struggle, again, was letting go. I had a great job. I was working for a cell phone company, and I was killing it. I had a new car. I had a badass leather jacket from Wilson's House of Suede. I was balling. I was doing good. I had a cell phone with unlimited minutes because I worked for a cell phone company. And
back then it was not just nights.
No, not free nights and weekends. No, all the time. And so, man, I would get my bill in the mail once a month, and it was thick. And since I'm in sales, it would just be zeroed out at the bottom. But a buddy of mine and I were always playing the game of how much phone usage can we get and how thick can our bill get? Yeah. And so we'd bet every month and like, all right, look at 9 pages.
It's all free.
It's all free minutes.
That's crazy.
So letting go of a cell phone that's unlimited, letting go of a job that's paying very well, letting go of that security, that financial security. I've never had insurance.
I was going to say the benefits, the 401k.
I never had insurance.
Yeah.
My mom told me, you made it. And I go, Mom, really? Tienes seguranza, mijo. You have insurance.
Right.
And I'm like,
with the company there.
Yeah.
But you must have been, 17, 18?
But when you're young, you don't give a shit about insurance.
Yeah.
Insurance, man, look at me. I feel good. I'm
Right.
fine, And it's not until you get your 40.
You're like, maybe we should talk about that.
Get that PPO, man.
Let's get a Cobra. We got a Cobra?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You started talking about your doctor earlier, and I got all like, oh, really? they do IVs? Ooh. So letting go of that, because I didn't quit working at McDonald's to pursue comedy. I quit working at a company that was paying me very well. And according to everybody who was around me, you're stupid for letting that go to pursue this.
It's a Mexican-American thing, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like my dad, too, he was like, no, man, hey, right here at the refinery. I can get you a job, man, $25 an hour, and I'm like, Dad, I don't want
and
that.
It's hard for them to imagine
the
an
numbers
alternate
on the
life.
paper sound good, but is that what you want to do?
Right. Well, he fucked me up because I go, didn't you ever have a dream? And he goes, yeah, to have a good job, a roof over my head, and kids. So my dream came true, and I'm like, "Fuck you and your shitty dreams. I got big dreams.
That's not a dream.
That's normal life, But again, you were 18?
I started doing stand up in 97. In 1997, I was 20.
Because I was a senior in high school in 97. But you were already on Que Locos, weren't you?
No. My first television show that I did was a show called Make Me Laugh on
I remember.
Comedy Central. And they booked me for that, and I did 3 episodes. So my first 3 TV credits was Comedy Central. And then after that, I got a chance to be on a show called Premium Blend.
I remember.
Comedy
Premium
Central,
Blend.
which was like their audition for a special.
But you're like, what, 20?
I was 21, 21, yeah. And then I got the first half-hour special. And then after I did the half-hour special in New York, then I did Que Locos. But none of that other stuff mattered until I did Que Locos. When I did this show...
Came out of the womb, headliner.
This show, by the way, for those of you that don't know, it was a show that was produced in English, but it was on a Spanish network. It was on Galavision.
Galavision.
And Galavision didn't have a lot of programming. They had soccer, and then a couple novelas, and then comedy. And so they were playing it because they didn't have a lot of
Just over and
stuff.
over, yeah.
They just kept playing it at 3, at 9, at 11.
Oh, I'd get
at
home
1
drunk
a.m.
and Que Locos would
It
be
was
on,
always
you know?
on. It was almost like the Que Locos channel.
Right.
And because I had done so many episodes,
And they gave you 2 beers and $100.
it was pretty yeah. But it was one of those. People always say, "Hey, man, you're not getting paid a lot, but you know you're getting good exposure." That's a double-edged sword because sometimes you're already making money, and then they want to like, "Hey, exposure, really here at the at the garage with the I'm getting
At the Trevino's house on their podcast?
Nice.
You see how much she treats me? Why do you call her Captain Evil? I don't know. Pay attention. Pay attention.
Se le sale. But that show kept putting my face on TV round the clock. And then they had a Que Locos Live comedy tour, and they had me on that tour, and then they promoted it on the network. And so they would run that commercial, 10 times an hour?
Easy.
And
So your face.
Yeah, it's just boom, 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 boom. And I remember we were in El Paso, and we were doing the whole, the Que Locos tour, and each comic would go out, and the producer, rest in peace, Mike Robles, who was the host also of the tour, tells me right before I go out on stage, he goes, "I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna tell them that the show is over," because they've already seen like 5 comics.
Right.
"I'm gonna tell them that the show's over." He goes, "And I want you to just walk out and then just grab the mic from me." And I'm like, I couldn't understand what he was doing. I'm like, that's weird. That's stupid. Why am I? Fine, it's your show, right? So that's my dog in the corner.
And that's okay. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Poor guy.
It's okay. It's okay if the dog barks. It's okay.
He's gonna
There's
be
a chihuahua
he's
in
gonna
the
be
corner
he's
of
gonna
our
be
podcast
He's going to be
studio.
14.
Look, if you're a Gabe fan and you don't think there's a chihuahua here, come on. I'm so surprised that Gabe has a chihuahua with him.
Nice.
Can you believe it? They'd be offended if he wasn't here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Now they want to see the
Now
chihuahua.
we'll show him in a minute.
So you grab the
Anyways,
mic.
so Mike goes out on stage and he tells the audience, "All right, everybody, thanks for coming out. It's the Que Locos Live Comedy Tour. Hope you had a good time. And good night." Basically. And then he starts walking off. And when he's walking off, I grab the mic from him like a baton.
And they lose their shit.
And I walked out and I said, "I don't think so." And the crowd went insane. And it was that first time I felt like, holy shit, what is going on? And the crowd was just like, it was like a rock show. And that was the first time I really felt like, ooh.
Oh, something's happening.
Something's changed.
Ooh.
Your life has changed.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I always tell people I was always funny, but I was never good. I've now gotten funny and good. It takes time. Watching you as a young kid without open mic experience, you were funny and good from the get-go.
It was like a learn on the job because I felt like I had different energy when I first started. I felt like I was always screaming. I was loud. You gotta be loud and in their face. Ah! And people, I remember Joey Medina called me Mexican Sam Kinison. He goes, "Why are you screaming, man?"
I don't know. I'm having fun.
Wow, I'm just, I'm excited. And I used to run to the stage. That was also a little gimmick of mine. I used to run from the back of the room all the way down stage, and my opening line was, "An overweight Latino with energy, give it up."
And then you go crazy.
And the people go crazy. And I'm like, "No, I have to run." And then you fall once, and you
you
realize,
go,
I probably shouldn't run to the stage.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, and it got a really huge laugh. So then I was like, I got to keep doing it.
No. If you fall and get back up, se cayó, you got up. But when you fall and people are like, he's still on the ground.
Somebody help him.
Somebody help him.
Somebody help that guy. I mean, but
Se mató. Yeah.
I remember just like I said, man, is watching you and you always being I always tell people, you are an entertainer. You're more than a stand-up comic. You're somebody that I can watch and I'm interested the whole time. Whether you're banging out laughs or you're just getting to the laughs, like I sit there and because the voices and your charisma and then it made me think, how the fuck did you pull off Dodger Stadium? You know what I mean? Because it's so big.
I like how you just went from freaking, Que Locos to Dodger Stadium. Like, there's a lot of stuff in between, bro.
Didn't feel like it to me.
We only got an hour, man. We got.
No, but I mean, because you connect with the audience, because your ability to be an entertainer, I'm like, Dodger Stadium. Because sometimes I'm blessed. I do theaters now. It doesn't feel the same. From a comedy club feels, and you
comedy
the
club
way
is
the
home.
act translates.
A comedy club is home. That's the gym. That's where we get, make it happen. We try stuff out. We work through things to get it ready for a theater or an arena.
You can feel and touch the people.
Yeah, they're right there. You know immediately if you're doing good, and you know immediately if you're like, yeah, better scrap that one.
Yeah, but to go from that, and even when I'm in a theater, even this weekend we were at MGM Grand. It's only 800 seats, but I just don't feel as connected. I can't imagine 60,000.
So, I think that a comedy club and an arena are very much like the same in the sense that as long as you have the technology to support what you're doing, you can pull it off, and even better because you got giant screens on the side. And if you have people that understand, the guy's face is what makes this bit happen. So if you got gigantic screens, it's like sitting in the front row. So you're like right there. And they can, I sell everything to the camera directly. You see the red light, you're going to sell an idea, a bit. You sell it right into the camera, and it booms throughout the entire arena. So you can actually make it very intimate as long as you know the people can see me this way. Now, if you don't have any of that, and someone up in the nosebleeds is like, "Pichi Fluffy, estás así?"
Yeah, and they're showing full body shots.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And so, as long as your team knows to, all right, this guy's gonna do this, and you have.
I'm listening like I'm gonna do arena soon. I'm like, oh, well, I'll be there soon.
But it's just like, and I thought that I was gonna lose the intimacy of it, and you just have to trust that the technology is gonna carry it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And make sure that people know what you want to do so that you can convey that. Whether it's a sound cue or having multiple cameras, standing in a certain spot, standing under a certain light to make sure that you can get that out there.
Now, what immediately goes to my head, Renae and I produce our own specials. Renae directs, right? I perform. What an advantage to do arenas and already know where your looks are for your cameras. So I would assume when you film a special, you're like, oh, I already know I'm turning to that camera. I already know.
And the beauty of with a special, it's even better because when we do the arena shows, we have maybe three cameras, right? 3. For the special, I have 12 cameras. So it doesn't matter where I look. There's something.
You're covered.
I'm covered.
Wow. No, that's genius.
And I always try to make sure that with the specials, I always have a thrust so that it keeps me in a certain area where I won't get off. Get out of the light or get off camera. I stay contained in that little box. Plus, the crowd surrounds you, which is really cool because then it creates that club vibe right here. But then you look up and you're like, oh okay.
Shit, right.
But you also trust that the cameras are getting you.
Well, and we share a manager, Gabe and I, and he told me that you fought like hell to make sure that it stayed a 2-hour special on Netflix. Do you get nervous when it comes to like when Netflix is like, yeah, we don't want to do it for an hour, and I would be like, okay, fuck it, do an hour. Are you at a point where you're like, no, I know what I delivered?
There's pros and cons to that. So when I want to say it was the not Fluffy movie, because in Fluffy movie I still did 90 minutes. It wasn't a fight with Netflix because that was a different platform that released that. But when I did the Chicago special, that one it came in at 1:43, and Netflix was like, this is not good. You need to edit this down to an hour. And I'm like,
how do you shave off 43 minutes?
How do you want me to knock that off? I go, I don't do setup punch. I tell these long stories, and it's like, you can't mess with that. And they were like, The algorithm says that there's
Fuck
a
the
drop.
algorithm.
There's no,
Yeah.
believe me,
No,
I've been
everything-
struggling with that word for the last 15 years.
Martin's so
The
Mexican.
algorithm. The algorithm.
Chinga. But you fought him.
I was very insistent on the fact that they have to let the special fly as is, and it was a big fight. It was a big fight.
But after that, you still
So-
had to fight.
No, so after
But then, did they promote it like you would have hoped after putting up that
No,
fight? That's what I was gonna
and-
say.
and there's
Then
never-
you risk your special getting buried.
I've never gotten the promotion that I've wanted. It's always been good, but it's not. I'm like, they could do so much more. But there's so many other entertainers that are on that platform that need promoting as well.
That
So
aren't
you're
Mexican.
fighting.
Just say it.
Nice.
Just say it. That aren't Mexican. So many non-Mexicans that get promotions that are half as funny and sell half the tickets. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway.
Not to call these fuckers out,
No,
but
right?
we did.
So the special comes out and they give me the report. And Netflix is very secretive with their information. They don't want to put too much out there.
Because then that's a negotiating.
Yeah, it's a negotiating thing. But they told me that the retention, like people staying to watch it, it was really high. It didn't drop off.
Awesome.
And so then when the next special came up, they're like, yeah, we want you to do another 90-minute special. I'm like, well, what about an hour? Well,
algorithm.
No, and they flipped it on me. They're like, so now the expectation is to do 90 minutes
Right.
plus.
You changed the algorithm.
And so I was like, oh. So now I feel like I'm giving them specials because if you think about it, an hour is the only thing that's required, and I'm giving them 90.
And
I
they're
do
getting
two
that
specials,
extra-
They're getting an extra hour.
Right.
And-
Well, but it goes back to what I was saying. You're such an entertainer to me, right? Like I love watching you. I can watch you and you tell the stories, which by the way, I'm so glad Martin is here. Dude, you got to tell me how this love story happened.
We met on Grindr, bro.
How did
In
you
California,
guys
not in Texas.
If you like pina coladas.
penis colossus?
Nice.
Do you like penis colossus? How did you guys end up, meeting?
I think it was a progression of.
You pull up a chair next to Gabe. We can.
Nice. He said, "Oh
Or next to me, yeah. Martin Moreno, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, I have a Captain Evil. Gabe has a Martin Moreno.
Nice.
There we go.
Can we move in a little bit? Sure. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't. I wasn't thinking, but
Let's see.
we should have brought another
that?
mic. But
All good. Dude, we met very early on. I saw Gabe when I was an open micer.
so you were already doing it.
I had just started, literally just started, and I went to one of those Gilbert Esquivel shows that he used to put on over in like one of those big ballroom event type of things.
Oh yeah.
Odyssey.
The Odyssey.
Yeah.
And,
Where they're making money, but we're not.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it sounds
One of
like
those,
a
like,
strip club.
fundraisers.
The Odyssey, right?
It does.
At the time, my kid was Hooter was 10 years old, and he would watch him on all that, So I knew that he was on Nickelodeon and all that, and he was doing comedy, and he was freaking killing it. So I went up to him and go, "Hey man, my son's a big fan, and dude, you killed it." Blah blah. He goes, "Oh dude, here's an autographed picture for your son." So he hooked me up with a picture. Then I saw him at another gig, and then I ran into him at the Tortillas, which became Wild Coyote over in Montebello, and it just kept. At that time, the circle of brown comedians was so small that
At that time.
At that time, well, no,
At that time, it hasn't changed.
Well, but it has. It has in the sense that you could literally count the 100 comics. I remember. You've got to remember that list that had the 100 comedians from Los Angeles to New York and everything in between. You could count how many brown comedians were doing it, which is insane, And so if you started and you were decent, you were going to meet everybody immediately, especially in Los Angeles. So, a guy that just started was hanging out with people that had credits. I mean, that happened to you immediately as well, where it was that small. That's how small the circle was, which goes to tell you how important representation is, because after people sake locos, there's 10 dudes that are going to start 100 dudes that are going to start tonight that are brown, which is incredible. It's awesome.
And, I'm proud to say, when I left Corpus Christi, there was no scene, and now there's Corpus Christi comics. Mm-hmm. Because they thought to themselves, well, man, a guy made it from here. I can You know, because for you guys in LA, it was what, George, Paul, and Mencia.
Carlos.
But George wasn't even.
It was only the three, and George wasn't really considered, like, he didn't start doing that type of comedy until years later.
See, I didn't even know who George. When I knew who Mencia was from Def Jam and his HBO specials, right? I didn't know who George was. I knew who Paul was.
Well, George got put on the map by Que Locos as well. No matter what he had done, Que Locos is when he, you know what? I don't know if he wants to admit that or not, but that's a fact.
I know, huh? That show made both of us, and he knows it.
Sure.
He knows it. That show is what catapulted the beginning of what was, to come.
Sure.
But my question is, it was on Spanish television. How did you then translate that to an English audience?
Well,
like,
no,
I think
because
so many people would get stuck there.
So it was recorded in front of an English audience at the Ice House.
But also the parents that watched that station had kids that spoke English that were looking at that station, but now they were watching these Latino comics, and it became a family event. It became like the young kids introducing their parents who barely spoke some English to this world of stand-up, which was literally non-existent. There was one dude at the time, and that was Paul.
Yeah.
Well, whether anybody wants to, I'll give that man the credit because he was the only Latino comedian in the game, and Que Locos literally changed that. That became the Def Jam for the Latinos,
100%.
if you will.
100%.
And here's the thing: a show like that usually showcases you're doing 7 minutes, 10 minutes. It's usually comics that are trying to break into the scene. It's most of a showcase show, right? The difference with that showcase show is that you were putting comedians who had been doing comedy for 20 years. These weren't guys that were trying to polish their 10 minutes that they had just worked on. No, these guys had an hour, 2 hours, and they had the experience. So everybody was a freaking killer. You had Carlos Oscar on there destroying that freaking
Luke
show.
Torres.
You had a Luke Torres destroying
Rudy
that
Moreno.
show. These guys were seasoned veterans of the game on a showcase. You're giving these guys 7 minutes, 10 minutes in front of a they're going to murder. So that show, you look at a showcase show now, people are going to do okay. One person might stand out. No. Everybody and their mother was smashing.
Everyone could have closed.
Well, and not only that, I mean, for those of you that don't know, the Ice House, that room is so cozy and the atmosphere is always
Everybody would record a CD there.
Yeah, because it was just so.
That's how we are. You could record a CD there.
or a videotape to send to showcase to the club.
Right.
But it was a great room. Comedy clubs would not accept a tape from the Ice House because they said, "Oh, that's an easy room. It's too hot." Mm-hmm. And then the acoustics with the wood, everything in the room is wood, so the sound would just bounce and it sounds.
Just you guys just hanging out,
and we just started. We started hanging out. I remember.
Oh yeah, how we met.
So
there we were.
So from there,
ahí estábamos.
We started running each other because the circle was so small that we started running into each other all over the place. And I remember there was a time where he said, "Hey man, I gotta." And listen, nothing happens by accident. Like when people look at Gabe and said, you came, like when you said you came out of the womb headlining, the work ethic that this dude has is next level. I remember, he hit me up and he said, "Hey man, I'm doing a meet and greet, but I have to be up all night because he was coming from somewhere and I have to go do this meet and greet. But then I have a show in Fresno. I'll take you with me. I'll give you a paid spot. Can you drive my car?" He goes, "I don't trust anybody with this car." Your mom had given you that car. Remember that? Was it the Cutlass?
Shit!
Yeah.
It was a.
Tell me you're Mexican without being Mexican.
It was a
Cutlass.
It was a Regency 98. So Oldsmobile Regency
that's
98.
All the cars you bought.
They all look the same.
Please tell me you bought one
What?
and restored a Cutlass for your mom.
No, not a Regency. No, I got my mom a different car.
No, but you should get one now.
Now, right?
Yeah, give her that Regency back.
Yeah. And so he says, "Can you drive?" And I remember he knocked out on the way there, and I'm driving. He goes, "Do me a favor, just don't take it above 90, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Hey, dude," I'm trying to be, dude, this is like, I'm starting out. This is a dude who's on Que Locos on every commercial.
Right.
I'm like, I'm going to Fresno.
Go on the road.
I'm going on the road. And Ruben Quintana was on that show.
Oh my God,
Masajo. And a guy named Andre Covington ran that.
Andre Covington.
The Aces of Comedy or something. I forget what it was. Anyway, we get there, and this dude is exhausted. Before he went on stage, I saw him get a pitcher of ice and pour it down his back to wake up. Went out there, did an hour, got a huge standing ovation, and just destroyed. And I'm just sitting there like, this guy was asleep 5 minutes ago. And he's turned, like, it's like Ozzy Osbourne can't walk, but he gets on the stage and he's running around.
All of a sudden he can do
and he's killing it, he's killing it. And it was the same, the same style of energy. Like, you see this guy just go from, like, just being completely about to knock out to, let me just go out here and murder this crowd. And we hung out that night. It was awesome. We laughed. After that, he invited me out to do a guest spot in El Paso. I still had a job at that time. He goes, hey, you want to go to the comic strip? Bro, we were in a condo.
Tell him where you were working at the time.
I was working at UCLA Medical Center.
Really?
Yes. And I just said, fuck yeah, I'll go. And I said, I'm not coming. I got to do
Fuck those patients.
Fuck it.
They can die. I got to kill.
And here's the thing.
Hey, Victor died last night, but you should have seen me on stage.
Bro, I had gotten on Que Locos. I had an incredible set. I had the set of my life up until that moment. And so when he took me out to El Paso, and here's the other thing. I don't know if you ever stayed at the comic strip condo. Remember the condo that they used to have? I was going to say,
don't ever ask me.
Yeah.
I stay in that fucking condo.
You know?
Big shout out to Bart Reed, by the way. We love Bart.
I always had a good time at that condo.
Yeah. It was a great condo. Yeah. And so now, but it was like fucking 7 of us in this condo. Like the
tell me you're Mexican.
Yeah. Dude, we're like, we have a couch, we have the freaking pillows and some blankets. Dude, it looked like a freaking halfway house.
It was like a frat house.
Like a frat house.
It was a frat house.
Those are the moments where you're like, we're doing it.
Yes.
Like we're fucking.
One guy's on the couch, one guy's on the carpet, right there in the corner.
Hey, they gave us free beer last night.
Dude, it was awesome. It was my first time on the road, like road, where I'm like going on the road.
You know what's crazy? That was my first road gig.
I think that was
El Paso.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, we did that, and then at that time he had another dude that was hosting the show. And I remember one time that dude didn't show up, and I still remember. I think it was Brea. I think it was the show, and you said, "Hey man, are you down to host?" And I mean, I went up there, and it was just, it was a great time, great show, and then. After that, we just started working together. We started clicking.
Well, there's
a mutual respect too.
That's where I was going with it. Yep.
I mean, I was a little older, and a little bit more. At that time, I don't want to blast anybody, but the comics that he had around him had been established way before Gabriel blew up. So they would go up there and he'd say, "Hey, do 10 minutes," and they would do 20, 30.
Right,
talking about, hey, it got good to me. Like,
I'm not going to let this kid tell me.
Correct. Even though it's his show. And I remember one of the first shows I did with him, he says, "Hey, thank you for respecting the light." And I'm like, the fuck? But that's how gracious he is, where he could have easily said, "Hey, you fucks. That's my show. Freaking respect it or get the step in."
I will tell you, and I'm not going to put anybody on blast, but people probably know, Doghouse Comedy Jam, and we're driving home in a shitty car, and I am miserable and I'm tired. And then all of a sudden, this RV goes driving by. And dude, bro, the fucking the screen doors flying open. All I see is ass, just people partying, and I think that's Martin's ass.
That was the original tour bus.
The original tour bus. And I remember just being all sad on the 5. I'm like, look how much fun they're having. Look at the Gabriel crew.
That, by the way, that Doghouse show was like one of the biggest comedy shows
in the world.
In the world. Every year at this venue in Northern California, there'd be 13,000 people there at the Shoreline
Amphitheater
to see comedy. And I mean, it was an all like headliner show.
Oh,
and
dude,
it started off with the date. You go up on stage. Are you a daytime comic or a nighttime? Because it would start while the sun was still out, and then it would end with it would be black.
Well, I was out there, with the other guy. And the opener gets stuck in traffic. And Jeff Wills comes up to me and he goes...
Promoter.
Yeah, he goes, "Hey, Trevino, do 10. And I'm like, what? And then Matt Blake was like, yeah, go Agent. Do 10. And I'm like, right now? There's 20,000 people out there. And he's like, yeah, right now. And I had to open that show. And man, I'm very rarely intimidated or scared. I was like... because there's no time to process. You know,
last minute.
Yeah, and it throws your timing off, and you're getting thrown to the wolves.
And you want to put your set together, right? Okay, what am I going to do? I'll think about it. It was like, I remember Matt Blake, agent, goes, well, it's now or never, dude. Don't be a puss.
Nice.
And that was it. But, I mean, that was a huge show. Chappelle was on that show. Cat Williams.
Yeah.
Cedric the Entertainer.
I have one of the backstage pass, and you can see the faces. It's like Chappelle was on it, Kevin Hart, Joe Coy, Cat Williams,
Brian Regan, Dave Attell,
Bill Burr.
Bill.
I mean, I forget the different lineups that there was because there was many.
And each year the shows would change, but that was the type of comic.
Well, I was always,
you couldn't.
But
pay
then
for a show
I would get jealous because the Gabe camp having a blast. Like his green room's like literally shaking. You know. Well, no, but they're in those trailers, and I'm like, man, look how much fun they're having. Anybody want a shirt?
Yeah.
Who wants a shirt? My comedian selling shirts.
We'd always have so much fun. Yeah, and then you were over there freaking getting an earful. Fucking count the shirt.
That's too good of an impression to give. I mean, I think we pretty much gave it away, but.
So yeah, and it just became this you know, when you're on the road like that for that long, you know, you start spending more time with these people than your significant other, than with your family. You really get to know people.
But in a sense, you guys did it together. Because you were starting out, and it was like, hey, help me, I'll help you, and I'm sure, like you said, the learning curve of, hey, let's figure out stand-up together.
The patience that he had. I mean, I was in Virginia just talking about psycho chicks and bombing in front of those Christians. I mean, they were looking at me and praying for me. They were laughing. They were just praying for me, bro.
As he's wearing a rosary.
We're talking like, man, you know, I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm an open micer still, really. I mean, like,
and no offense to Gabe, Gabe's at that age.
Yeah, you know,
it's not like
correct. And he's a young dude. He's trying to figure out. I mean, we were raised by the road, and I think you, to an extent, were raised by the road.
I got on the road I turned 21 on the road.
Wow.
And I tell my wife, Renae, I go, you know. It's weird to think every weekend for I don't know how many years is pack your shit and go somewhere else.
Yeah. No, and you know, I was in my early 30s, you know, I was 31, 32, but...
Dude, you don't look a day over 80 right now.
so, thank you very much. I try. I have an age management doctor who helps me out. But you know,
tequila's not a doctor, bro.
At that, it depends on who you ask, bro. So you know, I was very sheltered. Like I was very limited as to what I knew. You know, it's like that saying: a fish in a pond will never swim in an ocean. So I came from a relatively hood city where I never really experienced a whole lot.
They call it like the 16 blocks.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's, you know, it's like that's all I know.
Yeah.
Well, I came from a cornfield.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but you also talk about in the younger years of your career, Steve's talked about making mistakes, you know, and not handling things appropriately, and then getting to a point in his career where he was having
You miscounted the shirts!
You didn't read them right, bro.
But really having to say, like, I'm sorry, and get over the perception people had of him for those early years in his career. Did you experience any of that?
It was always a learning experience because, like he said, we'd go to these cities and we'd always have the conversation of, I don't know if they're going to get me. Is this going to go over? How you know, because I remember, I took Gleto with me to that same place in Virginia. And I remember
the Funny
Bone. That place had its way with all of us. And it's those environments that helped us grow and learn because you got to be able to perform for everyone, not just...
I had that.
Not just
Isn't that the one with the strip club next to it?
No.
The strip club and the Cheerio factory?
You know, I mean, listen.
No, that's Buffalo.
How many people think go to the Funny Bone in Cleveland and freaking go Buckeyes at least freaking, you know.
Right.
Or in what's that in Ohio?
Cleveland Improv, the Funny Bone.
No, the Funny Bone with
Dave Stroop.
Yes.
Yeah, Funny Bone
Columbus.
in Columbus.
In Columbus, right? Bro, you know how many times I said go Buckeyes just to get them back?
Yeah, that was if you were bombing, say go Buckeyes and you'll be all right.
You get them right the fuck
O-H.
Yeah.
But you know, and the sad part is I had that conversation sometimes with, you know, I would do, you know, Refried Fridays in LA, or and they would go, hey, Steve, take me on the road. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing Virginia this week. I can't. Mm-hmm. And they would think I was a dick. Right? Because they'd be like, well, why? You can't take me? And I'm like...
But you already know, based on what you're watching on stage, this shit ain't going to fly over there.
It ain't flying, dude.
You got to have material that everyone can enjoy.
You know, G. Riley went out to Japan with a comedian that we all know. I'm not going to blast him, but, you know, he was doing King Taco jokes and Tacos Mexico jokes.
Making, like, really
like local LA references.
Yeah. You get 2 tacos and make 1 taco. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
They're looking at him like he's got 5 heads, you know?
But either you adjust and keep progressing your career, or you just stay there. And it sounds like you guys were like, hey, man, we got to change.
You got to change it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing Canada. I mean, what I remember having a conversation with you the other day where you were like, I've done 35 countries.
Yeah, well, I think I lost count of how many countries we've
Yeah.
done.
Like you can't go to Australia with
one of the coolest things was maxing out the passport, and it's just like, wow, like
maxing out a passport.
where they have to add pages to it.
Yeah.
I have a passport that I still have that's just like it's fat, just like, you know, you were talking about the cell phone bill where you're trying to pad it. That's the same thing with the freaking passport. That particular, you know, stretch of travel took me all around the world.
That's the biggest flex for a Mexican. They're like, you barely got in here, bitch. Look where I've been.
Yeah.
And how many borders I crossed.
It's insane. Like, you know, going to Europe, the first time I went to Europe, you know, dude, even though I was older, I'm still like this freaking kid from the hood that hasn't lived life. Europe sounds like a whole different universe. You know,
did you guys still get like? I get so scared when they're like, "Hey, you're doing a new market," or, you know, this year they're like, "Hey, Steve, we want to do Canada with you." Do you still get scared that, oh crap, am I going to sell tickets?
Is it going to
work
work out?
Give a
Are they going to get it?
You know, yeah, are they going to get it?
Are they going to get it? And we had to go back through that whole. Are they going to, you know, starting over? Like, oh, this is not America now. Now it's because I remember getting nervous about performing in Florida. I'm like, I wonder if Florida,
which is not America either. Miami is not America.
I much love Florida.
I love Florida, but the further north you go, the further south you are. Let's just say that.
That's funny. But yeah, no, I mean, the first time we went to Europe, like, what, you know, we didn't know what the hell to expect. And are you
opening at this point?
Yeah,
so it's on you.
I'm
it's
opening.
Like,
yeah, correct.
Martin always takes that bullet first.
Martin, go fucking set the tone, dude.
But the crazy part is that they knew, based on the stories that he's told of it, not any content I put on, but based on the stories that he told, oh shit, this is that guy Martin. This is Martin. So immediately you get that
with the fans.
Side. Yeah,
he had that,
and that was huge. But then to be there, and you think these are Norwegians, you know, these are Swedes, and that first trip, it was literally life changing, bro. Because when Gabe got out there, I mean, the crowds were hot, but when he got out there, it was soccer stadium.
Stomping
like
the feet.
Frenzy.
Stomping the feet.
And
clapping and stomping. And
imagine a wood theater, just these people are stomping.
I can't, Martin. Thanks.
And so at
your new HEB spokesperson, Gabriel Iglesias.
And so at the end of his set, they kept on stomping and kept on going, and the promoters like they want an encore.
I'm like, what the hell? I've never gone back out. I'm like, I'm out of jokes.
He's like, dude, I already freaking edited everything that I thought would work out here. And then I remember they called him back for 2 freaking encores. And I'm back there with all the other guys. What else hasn't he done? What else hasn't he got? Oh, try this. Try
but
that,
had you guys not scrapped it out in the Virginias and the, you know.
Never. Yeah.
Because I can't tell you, you know, God, I was so pissed off. I called my agent. I said, hey, man, I want to do Boston. Oh, Steve, Boston. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking at my analytics. I think I'll do well in Boston. Steve, there's no Mexicans in Boston.
Wow.
I'm like, do I speak English? I talk about my wife and relationships and my family. So I literally had to rent the comedy club.
Oh, shoot.
And I sold out 10 shows at Laughs. But when you have to get over these, like, no, Steve, you're Southwest. You know, and I'm like, well, I speak English. It's relationship humor. It's my life. It's not.
So the first time that we ventured out of like a comfortable market was when we did. Where's Prince from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. We did
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Once we got to Minnesota, I think it changed the dial. Like it changed everything. I mean, I'll let you.
Minnesota was definitely the place where we went, and it was against everything that everybody said. Oh, because I was
we
the same thing.
experienced the same thing.
Same thing.
Right.
Southwest. Oh, you're only at California, Arizona, Nevada, Texas. Maybe Chicago.
Right.
You know what I mean? But Minnesota, man, it was the only Mexicans there were us.
Was us.
And it was packed. And word got around really quick. Oh shit. This, they sold out this place.
This isn't a one-trick pony.
This is
Right.
And
But-
so
but
I credit that one show for being the one where everybody noticed. Oh, okay.
He's for real.
It
Yeah,
opened
let's
up a lot of doors.
okay. So let's start taking chances on all these other markets.
And then it exploded. And now 30 whatever countries.
I was gonna say, well, and all these countries, all these years later, what inspires you to keep writing new material?
I think the experiences. I know, my poor guy over there. These new experiences. It's like we wanted to share these stories. We're over there in Saudi Arabia performing for a segregated audience. I'm like, I gotta tell this story. So it's all men on one side, all women on the other side.
How it should be.
Nice.
Goddamn right.
The views of these Tejanos is not the views of Gabriel Iglesias. HEB, call me. Call me, HEB.
And Whataburger, this motherfucker.
Convert me, Whataburger. Come on.
Come knocking on my door like a
Come on.
Jehovah's Witness.
Couple $1 million. Whataburger.
Right here. So all these different experiences, made me want to continue to share those stories.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, and I'm sure that we're continuing to have new experiences, and it's like we'll just start talking about the new things that happen. Like I think I tried to tell this story the other night, but when I was hanging out with some friends of mine here, and people found out that all of a sudden, what's going on? I go, I just got some property here, and oh really? They didn't know I was a comic. We're at the bar, and the guy goes, oh, where are you from? And I go, L.A. And the guy went like this. And another person, they're like, oh, you just moved here? Where are you from? Oh, California. And I'm like, what is that? What is going on?
That is it.
And then I said, so what's the deal? Wow, these Californians, man, they move here to Texas, and they come here with their ideas, and they're taking jobs, and they're doing this and that, and I'm like, oh my God, Californians are the new Mexicans.
For Texas.
For Texas, yeah. It's like, holy shit.
I don't know if we're comfortable with this. You keep that border open. Close that one. Because this shit's been working great with this border, but that border. No, I mean, it's my neighbor, California. Most people moving here. My thing is, and again, not to put anybody on blast, I watch all these guys move into Texas, and all of a sudden they're wearing cowboy boots and the cowboy hat, and and I'm like, motherfucker, I'm the original. This is my home. This is where I grew up.
Do you look at it like
with,
cultural appropriation?
A little bit, but here's where it changed for me, and I think you guys would really understand that. I have never been around a culture that made me go, God, man, I wish I was part of that, until Hawaii. So I did the Blue Note, and after the Blue Note, they go, hey, you can stay, but it's like this famous singer, Hawaiian singer. And I go, okay, I want to check it out. And it was all native Hawaiians and doing the shakas, and then they started doing and I've never been like...
So jealous of someone else's culture?
Yeah, not only that, but I fell in love with it. Yeah. I fell in love with the way that they treat the earth, and their mindset, and the way that they love each other, and the way everybody kept coming up to me.
It's a beautiful, beautiful culture and just way of life.
They're all buying me drinks. Hey, brah.
Chill. Yeah.
Welcome, brah. I mean, and just the way that they treated me, it made me go, I could do this. I'll do the tattoos, and
Nice.
I mean,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. So
shoot, Roman Reigns is coming out.
But that was the moment for me where I go, I understand people coming to Texas and going, fuck, I dig this.
Now, also too,
Absolutely.
also too, I will say that the cowboy hat, the belt buckle, and the boots aren't owned, no disrespect, by Tejanos, because my tios and everybody in Mexico,
100%.
it's the same freaking outfit.
Well, we're,
you know, the
yeah,
vaquero,
we're the original vaqueros.
I
You
have,
know,
I have my you know, dead peoples and skulls and Dia de los Muertos with cowboy hats to symbolize my family members that have passed. You know, so there's pictures of me as a child on a horse or on a donkey with boots. With the hat.
In Tijuana.
in Tijuana. It's not a zebra, bro.
In Mexico,
It's not a zebra.
Real Mexico.
They painted the donkey.
And so it's very, very much the Mexicano culture, right?
Well,
not just,
I'll blow
not
your
just
mind.
the Tejano culture.
I'll blow both your minds.
With all due respect.
No, 100%. And we should be proud of that, and we should celebrate that. You know, but the number one seller of Stetson cowboy hats is Los Angeles, California. Wow. Yep. The number one seller. So Stetson.
And Alfred bought half of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say you beat me to it.
Shout out to
Alfred Robles.
there.
Yeah.
But no, definitely. That's what was weird to me when I moved to LA in my cowboy boots and, you know, and like Mexicans that be like, hey man, what's up, bro? What are you? And I'm like, I'm Mexican. Cowboy boots. I'm like, yeah, like that's, you know, I go visit my family in Sabinas, Mexico. Dude, they're all ranchos.
Yeah.
And they're all cowboy boots and, you know, killing cows and out on the ranch. Too bad we can't go visit them anymore because shit has gone down over there. But, you know, but yeah, absolutely, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can see how people can move here and go, man, I love it. I love the yes, sir, and the no, sir, and the yes, ma'am, and the no, ma'am. And
Holding open the door.
So you can imagine for me, like in LA.
People wave here.
Yeah.
They wave. It freaked me out. They're just, you know, just, how you doing?
Yeah, you don't have to cut anyone off.
How you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. They let you in.
I'm like, yeah. That was another thing I noticed too. I'm not fighting with people on the freeway.
There might be one guy, but it's not like over there where everybody's just like
out to get you,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Out there, a blinker is a sign of weakness. You know, I mean, shit, dude. Here,
Fuck him.
yeah, here they do that. And, you know, so for me, let me blow your mind. So growing up in Little Gregory, Portland, Texas, I had no idea that men didn't wear cowboy boots.
Oh wow.
Like when I moved to LA, I'm like, there's grown men in tennis shoes right now, at night. Because where I grew up, everybody wore. That's what you wore. Just wore. I always say that like class issues in my little town were not like anywhere else because we all wore to high school cowboy boots, jeans, and a t-shirt, and anybody and everybody can afford that.
There wasn't the wage gap like that you see in a city like California.
You know, where it's all about the expensive tennis shoes and the expensive
The
clothes,
Jordans and
the red
you know,
bottoms.
for us growing up, it was, dude, you got cowboy boots, jeans, and a t-shirt. Let's
Botas,
go.
man.
Yeah, and that's my dad used to say, nobody ever got shot over a pair of cowboy boots.
And you know, and was used to be like where everybody could afford it, but now boots are freaking expensive.
Oh man, they're
Avestruz.
avestruz, puto.
Dude, yeah.
What does Chingo Bling say? An ostrich had to die so I could look fly. Little shout out to old Chingo Bling there.
Shout out to Chingo. And yeah, so you know, like I said, boots. It's not the everyday's outfit anymore. You can still get affordable boots, but if you want good boots, you're paying some.
No, yeah, I mean,
value.
you know, especially like Custom or Lou Casey or you know, any of these cowboy boots. And my thing is, I'm more comfortable in cowboy boots than I am in tennis shoes.
During the quebradita phase that everybody was wearing cowboy boots and the 10X hats.
Oh, man.
I did it.
The
I
hebras
did
on
it.
the jackets.
I did it. It was the 90s, the mid 90s, and when this happened, right? And I remember getting a pair of Justins, and they were, you're right, absolutely more comfortable than any Jordans I've ever worn.
So, Gabe, can we get you in a cowboy hat?
Okay, now listen.
Can we-
Listen. You know,
Thinking about it.
you might sway me with the Whataburger thing, but I'm not.
I was gonna say
I'm not going down boot roll.
I was gonna say,
I'm
yeah,
not-
shorts and cowboy boots. I don't think works for Gabe
Now,
Iglesias.
I'm not gonna lie. I do own a pair of boots that I bought in California, and I would wear them to go to concerts.
Oh, wow.
You know, but my feet were killing me. I'm in the parking lot, like, somebody help me with these boots.
And just fucking
Yeah, so I can't.
But if you get customs, that fit your foot?
Even customs, because I mean boots are man, it takes a minute. Like I'm wearing some New Balance right now. Yeah, I'm wearing like they're dad shoes.
Yeah, hey,
these are dad shoes.
He's got New Balance and I got freaking.
I'm gonna highlight them green like he just cut the yard.
Boots,
full dad. No.
Boots look sick. They're beautiful. Same, and I feel the same way with boots as the way I feel about Jordans. Jordans are awesome looking shoes, but they're not comfortable. I can't be on my feet all day in those.
I remember a friend of mine bought me Jordans and I put them on and Renae was like, "Oh no, get that shit off. You know that does not look like you at all." So I had to get rid of them. But before we leave, because I have been to, let me set this up. I have been to movie premiere parties. I have been to TV show rap parties. I have performed for very, 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 very rich people and been at their parties. Never in my entire life have I been to a Gabriel Iglesias party. Dude.
Ain't no party like a fluffy party.
Cálmate. Nah. Hey,
No, but
big dog.
Hey, Gabe doesn't want baby oil. He wants adolescent oil.
Just cheese, eh?
Hey, adolescent oil. Dude. Oh my God. First of all,
HEB, he don't mean it. He don't mean it. He don't mean it.
First of all, our mutual manager hits me up and he goes, "Hey man, Gabe invited you to his party. You should come." And I live in Texas, and I'm like, and it's hard for me to get me to leave the house if it's not for stand up, right? And I'm like,
I feel you.
Right? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. And I love Gabe. I love Gabe, of course. And I'm like,
But you're thinking it's just a party.
yeah, I'm like, I gotta go over there and fucking blow out a candle. And dude, we get there.
You're talking about my birthday.
Yes. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I can't even begin to explain to you people out there. From the minute you walk in.
The people on stilts and in costume. As soon as we walked in.
You walk in and there's luchas posing for you. So you could take pictures with and I'm just.
Band, you walked in.
Yes.
And I felt like such an asshole with my little bullshit gift. Like this. He needs this. Bro, me and Renae, and I got to tell you, Gabe, Renae and I, because our life is so busy, and we're always doing events and stuff, it was such a great date night for me and Renae. And the party, just walking around, I think we counted 20-something cakes. TK, how many?
There were more than 20 cakes.
About 20.
There was like 20-something cakes. There was a food truck and food literally surrounding an acre in Long Beach. Bro, and then I love the fact that you're like, well, first of all, you did tell us kids should leave by a certain time, right?
Yeah, because we had a company called Lucha Vavom, who is kind of like a burlesque wrestling. So,
I don't know if you know this. So, we send Garrett home. We send my son home, right? Which, by the way,
after the Build-A-Bear and the caricature drawing,
2 Build-A-Bears, fluffy fucking bags, and he's like, Dad, you suck. He's like, get some new jokes, man. But it was awesome. So we sent Garrett with the nanny, right? And then we're sitting there with Emilio Rivera and his wife and his kid, right? The burlesque shit starts, and his wife is just like, and the kid's like this.
Oh, yeah.
And then she starts going, I can't believe this. And I'm like, it says right here on the invitation, kids out by 9 o'clock. So they ended up leaving. And then you kept going, there's more. And I'm like, fucking more? And
by the way, I wasn't even planning on getting drunk that night, but somebody came up to me with a bottle, which I'm sure you'll know that probably not the best thing. I just want to drink my Diet Coke, but somebody showed up. It was
Frankie.
Who got me the bottle, the first bottle?
Frankie.
Was it Frankie or was it Jackie and Alan?
No, Frankie brought you the 1942.
Oh, yeah. The guy that sold me this watch right here brought me a bottle of 1942. And
you're like, well.
Cracked it. And then that was gone. And then I'm walking around with the empty bottle like it's a mic. Everybody! Hey! I'm talking into the bottle like it's a mic.
There's more! That's all I remember is there's more, guys.
There was so much more.
That party was... 87 different events in
Oh my
one
God.
because of the amount of things that happen.
First time I had ever seen a drone show, and I'm sitting there going, "What the fuck is happening?" And then, by the way, we're all supposed to dress like luchador, and
yeah, because that was the theme. It was a lucha libre
but
theme.
Martin was very exposed. Let's just say we know what religion he is. Okay,
He came out dressed like El Santo.
yeah.
But I wore the underwear
and
with the
fruits,
tights.
fruits and berries were hanging out. And-
No, I remember walking up to you guys and I goes, oh, I was loaded. And I go, you're Captain Evil.
and then I found out they're like, yeah, we're out of tequila. I'm like, what? And Joe goes, yeah, we had like 80 cases. How many, TK? You probably know.
It was a lot.
He started hitting Gabe's stash.
All I know is that we were now wrestling in the ring when like people, and I turned around like everybody was, I think we were hanging out, right? It was, and then Joe Coy annihilated.
George. and he had just had a surgery on his foot.
That's
so he,
right.
so he had that big boot on his foot.
And he just kept getting more and more Asian. I mean, he just kept. Joe, I love you, buddy. Just white teeth and Asian. But I mean, and the most pro move that I thought was hilarious, you disappeared, and then you fucking reappeared. Like you left for like 3 hours, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Gabe's back." We're like, "What? Gabe's back?" They're like, "Yeah, he took a nap." I'm like, "Who takes a nap in the middle of their party and then joins their party again?" I'm like, "That's some gangster shit, dude."
That was a pretty outrageous party. That was an outrageous.
That was a life-changing party.
Dude.
Oh.
Life-changing
so many
party.
wonderful memories for people.
I will let you do that in my barn. Whatever parties you want, we can do them right there.
Nice. I saw the space. It's beautiful.
Oh, we could do some fun stuff. But the funny part is, so here we are, a week later, family reunion dance in Corpus Christi, Texas,
Steve's side of the family.
at the American Legion Hall. Dude, the floor, the fucking thing leans, right? So we told Garrett we're going to a party, right? We get there and he goes, "This is a party."
He didn't even want to get out of the car. When we pulled up, he goes, "Are you sure we're at the right place?"
I'm like, Gabe has ruined my child.
Gabe has a tendency to ruin a lot of shit, bro.
He was like, "This is a party."
Oh yeah, he did.
Dude, I think we had sparklers at the end of the night. Where's the fucking light show?
Oh my god.
Dude. Who does the planning? Do you give them a theme and step away, or are you involved the
Are you a
whole way?
control freak? I would be a control freak about it.
I give a lot of ideas about what I want to do, and then I have somebody who executes it. It's a company called One Call Events. Darlene and Fidel, who are amazing. These are...
They make magic happen.
They make magic happen. And not only are they party planners and event coordinators, there's people that you guys know that have a gift. They can do anything. There's nothing they can't do.
They don't say no.
They don't say no,
Right.
but what they do is incredible because, like, for example, coming here to Texas, I didn't have time to go out and let me go hit Bob's Furniture and go pick out some stuff or decorate. I didn't have time to do any of that, and I didn't have time to work on the house. And so between Darlene and Fidel, these party planners, they already know my taste because we worked together for so many years doing event. They know the type of things that I like, and I said, "Hey, what do you think? Can you decorate a house and work? Do some stuff?" And they're like, "Whatever you need." And so they came out. We walked into a fully furnished, decorated home, and they're still working on the house. And so it's like, okay.
Well,
But on top of that, I'm planning a Super Bowl event. I'm like, "Hey, I got a Super Bowl thing coming up. You want to do it?" "Yeah, we'll do it."
Here,
I
right?
got
We're
this.
gonna do it here.
Nice. And I'm a control freak in the sense that I have a certain vision, and as long as once I say, "Hey, this is the vision I have. If you can execute that, that'd be great." Yeah. And of course, you go back and forth with renderings, like, "Oh, I like this. I don't like that. This color's cool. This color I don't like," and then you work it out. But they are amazing. I've used them 10 times. We've had about
At least. And they've also done your stage for different holiday shows that we've done.
Yeah. Oh, when we did Dodger Stadium, they did a whole elaborate
was
hangout
gorgeous.
backstage. Okay, yeah. So they did that. Every single party I throw, it's with them. They're just so incredibly
even if you're hosting a dinner,
talented and resourceful.
That party.
No party's too big. No party's too small.
But I'll tell you, Gabe, you sharing that with us and my son is really special. Like it was to be able to, and I came home and I'm like, look what we saw, and it was just really special for us.
It was very obvious you wanted your guests to have a whole experience.
And like I told Renae, I said, and it was funny because, here you had these security guards that would kind of surround you, and then you'd be like, I'm good. Let me go. And then you would just be Gabe, at the party, and the security guards didn't know like whether to. Because you'd be chatting with somebody and the security guards would be like, do we, and then you'd give them a look like, fuck off. I'm fucking having a good time at my party. But, I mean, the ice sculptures, and and then I wanted to know, where the fuck did you put the VWs?
Oh,
where
funny.
did those go?
We had moved all the cars to another building so that we could have the space.
Just another building. No mas.
Some people have a vacation home. You have an extra building.
The VWs have a vacation home. Y'all go to the vacation.
And this is why I don't share. Because they're like.
But man, we could sit here and talk for hours, and I would have.
The walkie-talkie at the building 2. Call over building 2.
I have a feeling that you're going to see more of this as we move forward. But Gabe, thank you so much, man. And for those of you that came to our charity event, we had some technical difficulties, so we reshot it here so that you guys can see Gabe on the podcast. And Gabe, I just want to thank you. I'm proud to say that night we raised almost $70,000 for our veterans, and you were a huge, huge part of that. So thank you, and God bless you, man. And hopefully we get to do this again sometime soon, maybe at your party at my house.
Nice, right?
And we're out.